This week in the MLS is a little bit weird. And I'm not saying it's weird because of the fact that there's 11 games. In fact, that is pretty normal nowadays in MLS. We usually always get 11 games per match week. But what's weird about this week is that this game between the Montreal Impact versus the Galaxy is on a Monday. And I don't remember the last time that the MLS have scheduled a game that starts on a Monday. And what's even more weird about this game is that it's a day game too. This is a 12 o'clock kickoff my time, 3 o'clock kickoff local time, and I'm pretty sure a lot of Galaxy fans are pretty pissed that they're not going to be able to watch this game because they probably are at work. And I think maybe the reason why Montreal decided to play this game on Monday is because maybe there's a holiday in Canada. I'm not quite sure, but yeah, so either way, with that being said, let's talk about the rest of the game. And this week's winner of the only team to have a bye week is the Seattle Sounders. Congratulations for winning that award, and I'm pretty sure the Sounders will take this award any given day now because they really needed this break. Consider how much injury that they have with this team and how they really need a mental rest to try to kind of maybe think about turning this season around like they have done in the last couple of seasons. But yeah, the Sounders, congratulations. You win this week's award of being the only team to have a bye week. But yeah, let's begin with these games. And we'll start with the Friday game between TFC versus Orlando City. And also, I am doing this a little bit different in terms of the match preview. I'm going to tell you guys how each team has been in their last 5 games. So, L, of course, stands for loss, wins, W stands for wins, and D stands for draw. And just look how each team has been doing so far in the last 5 games and what are their form coming into match week number 12. So we start with TFC versus Orlando. TFC currently 2-1-6. Orlando currently 6-1-3. Toronto lost and drew and win and lose and then lose their last 5 games. In fact, I'm actually just going to go with letters. So the last 5 games they were LDWLL. Those 2 losses was last week in the midweek week and also in the weekend games in match week number 11, and that was a very brutal week for Toronto to lose those 2 games. While Orlando City, they were winning 6 in a row until they hit a roadblock against Atlanta United and they lost that one. And I was actually a little bit surprised the league still hasn't done much about the situation right at the end of the game where the fans were like throwing garbage onto the pitch. I thought they were going to fine them, but apparently that is not the case. And it's also pretty much the reason why the discipline committee in MLS is just, it's not good. Okay, it's one of the worst in any other professional sports here in the US. But, talk about this game. This is obviously a big game for both teams for different reasons. For TFC, they need to win this one because they got to get this thing going. And I know they do have a lot of injuries, and I know the fact that they're going to be without guys like Javinko, out the door, and potentially also, who was the other guy? Victor Vasquez and Hassler in this game against Orlando, but they got to start winning because we're now 1/3 into the season. They're still near the bottom of the Eastern Conference, and I'm not saying that there should be any panic right now for any Toronto fans that this team is in danger of missing the playoffs, but you got to think that they got to start kind of get things going, and that if you look at the upcoming schedule for TFC, there are some very tough games coming up. So they need to get their act together pretty soon, or else they're going to be heading into the middle of the season, and they could, if they don't turn it on, they could be in that 14-point gaps behind the red line. And the reason why I say 14 is just like an example. Right now, I think they're currently 11 points behind the red line, so they have a lot of work to do. And for Orlando City, they definitely want to win this game because they need to bounce back after that Atlanta game. And for Orlando City, they got to prove that they can beat these good teams. I mean, doing this 6-game winning streak that they had, I talk about how they've been playing a lot of weak teams, and you wonder that 6-game winning streak, the reason why they were so good was because they were playing a lot of garbage team. And now when they do face a good opponent like TFC, which they potentially could face in the playoffs this season, they need to win that one. They need to send the message that, we are not just going to make the playoffs, but we are going to challenge for the playoffs. So, yeah, this is going to be a very interesting game. I won't be able to watch this game because I have like final exams tomorrow, and I also have a baseball vlog to do. But I'll definitely watch the highlights of this game. This should be a very exciting one. But yeah, next one, NYCFC versus Colorado. NYCFC currently are 6-3-2. Colorado are 2-2-5. NYCFC last 5 games, they drew, lost, win, lost, and then drew. So their form has been not as good as it has been in the beginning of the season. While Colorado, well, they lost 4th straight, and they are just falling off a cliff right now ever since they kind of got off to a little bit of a good start. And this one should be a no-brainer. NYCFC should win this one. I mean, Colorado, like I said, they've been falling off the cliff in these last couple of games. And the fact that Colorado just cannot win on the road. They have 1 win in their last 26 road games. And I have a feeling by the end of this game, it will be 1 win out of 27. And it will be 8 games in a row without a win on the road. And I don't expect this to be a week where it's like last week where we have like Philly and the Quakes ended their long winless run because they were playing bad teams during that time. This NYCFC team is not a bad team. So again, I expect NYCFC to win this one against Colorado. And yeah, moving on to the next one, Portland versus LAFC. Portland 4-2-3, LAFC 6-2-2. Portland has won 4 straight after they gone on to a winless streak where they were winless in 5 games, while LAFC have won, draw, won, and draw, and they are unbeaten in, I think, let's see, how much they've been unbeaten. I think they're unbeaten in 6 games. They have not lost ever since that Atlanta game where they got destroyed 5-0. And this one is going to be interesting because Portland, they are definitely on the streak. They're definitely full of confidence after last week win against their hated rivals Seattle Sounders. And, they're playing at home at this game. And Portland just doesn't seem like a team that just can't be beaten at home. And, for LAFC, these last couple of performances have been kind of mediocre at a point, although in the last game against NYCFC, that was an incredible game. I mean, they were pretty much kind of fell into a victim of the fact that NYCFC was kind of also like them, where they were firing all cylinder on the attack, and it looked like somebody was going to get a win out of it, but unfortunately it didn't happen. And yeah, this is a very tough one for LAFC, and you wonder the reason why these last couple of games and why they kind of tends to look like a team that is kind of struggling despite the fact that they're still getting the result is because of the injury of Marco Arena. And if that is the case, that just makes me really sad as a Quakes fan, because now I deeply regret the fact that we should have never let go of Arena when he goes to LAFC. Although, to be fair, as I said before, I think the reason why Arena is doing well with LAFC is because of the fact that it fits his system. Like, the system that he is with LAFC is exactly the system that he wants to do, and which is the reason why he's doing well. He just did not fit the system that the Quakes were doing. And for LAFC, there is going to be a little bit concern in terms of their next couple of games, because as we get close to the World Cup's period, they are going to lose a lot of key guys. And some of those key guys they're going to lose include Carlos Vela, Marco Arena, Omar Gabbard, and there was also one other guy that I forgot who it was. But they're going to lose a couple of big starters, and it's going to be interesting to see how LAFC is going to cope with that. But for this game, it's going to be a very, very good game. And yeah, hopefully I can catch a little bit of this game, because I also have to go somewhere in the afternoon on Saturday and go to this game. But yeah, next up, FC Dallas versus Vancouver. So Dallas have really shown in these last couple of games that despite the fact that we're in this really tough, murderous road, we are still getting resort. And it's been the case with the fact that they have won, lost, draw, and won. And the loss they have, oh god, I kind of forget. Oh, it was NYCFC that they lost, which they lost 3-1 in that game on the road. But other than that, they've been doing just as fine as you would hope that they would. You would hope that an FC Dallas fan would want them to do. And for Vancouver, it's been the opposite. For the Whitecaps, it is just, after that draw, and actually, to be fair, there should be another D here, because they play that midweek game against the Quakes, and that game, yeah, it was not good in that game. And, for Vancouver, I've been saying it for a while, and I'm going to say it again, this team does not look like a playoff team, but somehow they're above the red line because they have played more games. And now they have to go on the road against FC Dallas, a team that has been very good this season at home. Well, not good this season at home, but have been very good lately at home. It is going to be a very big challenge for the Whitecaps to get something out of. And, the Whitecaps fans are certainly, before this game, they're certainly not happy with the last two resort of how they dropped points against teams that they should have clearly got all 3 points against. But yeah, next up, this is a big one in a sense that this could potentially maybe kind of determine whether or not each one of these teams is potentially going to be in contention of making the playoffs this season. And I know it sounds crazy, the fact that I'm actually saying that even though it's like May, but these two teams are kind of the teams that are not supposed to belong in this conversation of being in the playoffs. And for Columbus, the only reason why they're in second place right now is because they played the most game out of anybody in the Eastern Conference. And for the Revs, obviously they sent a big message in the last game against TFC by beating them 3-2. And they have been just unstoppable this season at home, besides the fact that FC Dallas beat them a couple of weeks ago. And I think the loss was this one. This was the loss that they suffer against FC Dallas, and then they drew, win, loss, and win. And this loss was against Montreal, which that one was a little bit of a shocking loss. Consider how bad Montreal is right now. But yeah, Columbus, they've been kind of flying under the radar, and just they've been on this I think 6-game winning streak, or not 6-game winning streak, but 6-game unbeaten streak. And yeah, this is going to be an interesting one. I have a feeling that Columbus is in a better stage of a team that are not supposed to belong in this playoff conversation, if we would have talked about this in the season, than it is with the New England Revolution, because the Columbus are a team that they're picking up points on the way, and they've been kind of like on this really good run again after they kind of struggle in the middle part of the first half of the season. And the Revs, they have looked human at times in these last couple of games, but they also got big victories too. And for Columbus, you know, the only thing that I will worry about Columbus is that what happened if Jerzy Zardes starts to have a time where he's not scoring goals, because right now Jerzy Zardes for the Columbus Crew is just playing out of his mind. He looks even better than what he was in a couple of years ago when he was in the height of his power. And you know, you wonder, besides Jerzy Zardes, where is the goal is gonna come? I mean, you know, some people will say, well, maybe it's gonna come to Higuain, who also have scored a couple goals, but Higuain is not that kind of just a goal scorer that can just carry the team. He's known as a guy that is setting up those goals, and other than that, who else is there to score the goal? So that might be a little bit of a thing that Columbus fans should think of what happened if Jerzy Zardes does start to show signs of where he's not gonna score as many goals, because I don't know if he can keep this up with the way that he is right now. I mean, the form that he is in is just unbelievable. And for New England, it's going to be interesting to see those guys that you wouldn't say that are the guys that step up, guys like Theo Bunbury, Christian Pinella, and Diego Fagundes. Are they going to continue to play like that throughout the whole season? Or is this kind of good form that they're in eventually is going to wear off? And once that wears off, the refs might be in that same case too, where they will start lose some games and the bubble will burst in terms of their playoff run. But either way, this should be a very interesting game also. But the next one is kind of a weird one. So the Union is playing against RSL. The Union is 3-2-5. The RSL is currently 4-1-5. The Union, despite the fact that this team looked like at times the worst team in the league, has won 2 games in their last 5 matches, and RSL are pretty much in that same kind of form too. They have won 2 games in the last 5 times. And what's interesting about this game is that the Union might actually have a chance to win this one. I mean, it sounds crazy, the fact that how many times this season have you heard me that the Union might have a chance to win against another opponent? Well, I think maybe besides the DC United game, I mean, that game was mainly because they were playing a team that was in kind of like their same tier of how they're doing this season. But they're playing an RSL team that, you know, has been very mediocre and has definitely have a lot of problems on their team. It began this season with the defense, and now it's shift toward the midfield, which I cannot believe that is one of the problems with this team, because I thought the midfield was their strongest suit with the guys like Jefferson Savarino and Albert Rusnak and Joao Plata and all those guys in the midfield doing good stuff, but that they haven't really kind of replicate that kind of form into this season like they did last season. And the Union might have another chance to get a win. And on top of that, RSL have not won on the road so far. Is that true? I'm not quite sure if that is true on that. I think they have not. They are winless this season on the road. And yeah, the Union might have a chance for a back-to-back win, which is very rare. I definitely did not expect the Union to even get like anywhere to begin a winning streak this season, because they are just a very bad team. Although, to be fair, maybe the Union will just completely disappoint me and RSL will able to win this one, or it might just end in a draw where it doesn't really help both teams either way. But yeah, talking about another matchup between 2 teams that are not very good. It's this one, the Quakes versus DC United. Although, in my biased opinion, I think the Quakes are started to get a little bit better, and they are at a point where they could potentially start a little bit of an unbeaten streak to recover that poor start they had this season. And they have a chance against a DC United team that has the fewest points right now in the league with only 5 points. And they have the fewest win in the league with only 1 win. Now, granted, DC United has played less games this season, but they're not a very good team. Okay? They are right there near that tier of just teams that are just really, really bad this season. And for DC United, everything is just wrong with this team. Like, this team cannot score, this team does not have a good midfield, and this team at times just cannot defend. And for the Quakes, you know, these last two games where we, and actually I forgot to put a D again here because we did drew this game. These last two games have definitely shown some sign of improvement, and you know, we got a big chance to get a win against DC United. And I think we really need to win this one, considering the fact that it's DC United. Like, everybody has been able to beat DC United. DC United is literally like the what the doctors order if you really need a win, because it just seemed like throughout this whole season, whenever teams that are in a bad stretch, once they play DC United, everything is fixed because it's just easy win. So I'm really hoping the Quakes will win this, and like I said, I will be going to this game. I will expect nothing but 3 points from this one, and hopefully by the end of the day, this 2 here on the winning column will turn into 3. But yeah, the next one, Chicago versus Houston. I mean, this part right here, these 3 games are probably some of the games that it's just, it feels kind of unwatchable unless you're a fan of either of these teams, because they just don't kind of bring some excitement. And this is one of them also. You know, both of these teams are pretty mediocre so far this season. I mean, Chicago, they won, they draw, they lost, they won, and they lost. So they've been in a very inconsistent form, and that can be said with Houston too. They drew, they won, they lost, they won, and then drew. It's just, I just think that, you know, for this game, for Chicago, you know, they're going to have to do something kind of extraordinary to lose this one, because Houston right now just have this kind of curse where they just cannot win on the road. Like, even when they're in the best position to get all 3 points, even when it looked like they would finally get all 3 points, they just somehow in some way find a way to not do it, decide to give up late goals on the road. And you know, it has happened 3 out of their last 4 road trip this season. So that's why I'm saying for Chicago, it's going to be they might do something extraordinary to potentially lose this one. And since that Chicago did lose their last one, and since they're in kind of an inconsistent form, then maybe a draw or a win is kind of on the deck for the Fire. And for Houston, you know, I don't know. I don't know what I can say other than the fact that unless they finally break this curse, and unless they finally figure out a way to close out games properly on the road this season, this team is not going to win this one. Because even if Houston are up by 1 near the end of the game, I just have a feeling they're going to lose this one, because they can't close out games on the road. And I don't know why. It's so strange. I mean, this last season, this wasn't the case for Houston. I mean, last season, I think they were pretty good at closing out games, but for whatever reason, that is not the case this season. But yeah, next one, Minnesota versus Sporting KC. So on paper, it looked like Sporting KC is going to win this one, because they are the best team right now in the West. They have a 7-2-2 record, which is the best in the West. Their current form, they drew, they won, they lost, they won, and they won. While Minnesota have lost, won, and lost, and lost. And Minnesota has a 4-0-7 record. And judging the pattern of how Minnesota is this season, where they tends to have a stretch where they have a good run, because while their biggest star suffer a season-ending injury, and then they just goes back to being a team that everybody kind of expect they to be, which is losing games. And even though this game is at home and Minnesota has done pretty well at home this season, Sporting KC is just too good right now. I mean, this team is the team to beat in the West, and I think Sporting KC, besides maybe LAFC, are probably the most complete team right now, and a team that they can potentially take down one of the Eastern Conference team. But other than that, I expect Sporting KC to win this. I don't expect Minnesota to get anything out of this. Although, maybe the Loons can surprise me here, and maybe they'll surprise us with a resort or something like that. But I expect Sporting KC to win this one. But yeah, the last two games, and the last game on Sunday. Oh, and by the way, I didn't tell you guys this. This game is on Sunday. This game is also on Sunday. This game is going to be the last game on Sunday, and this game is going to be on Monday. Now, one thing what I will do in terms of this match week, in terms of the review, and I'm actually going to say this now instead of saying it right near the end, is that I'm going to do the review after this one. I'm not going to do the review after this game because, yeah, if I do the review on Monday, then I have to do like the power rankings on Tuesday, and then I'm also, since next week I have to pack my bags and get ready for my trip to LA. I am not going to have a lot of time near the latter part of the week. So, I'm going to, like, the only time I think I have available for next week is like Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. So do a review on Tuesday or Monday, and then do power rankings on Tuesday, and then do other stuff. I just think that I should just do it on Sunday instead. I just want to keep the traditional kind of thing where I always do match reviews of each match week on Sunday. So yeah, I'll do a review after this game, and I'll probably do a single review on this one after this game is over. But yeah, talking about this game, Atlanta versus the Red Bulls. So Atlanta are pretty much the best team in the league right now. They have a record of 8-1-2. The Red Bulls currently are 6-0-3, and I think Atlanta currently are top of the Supporter Shield standings. I think they have currently 25 points in comparison to the second place team, who is Sporting KC, that has 23 points. So they have a 2-point gaps in the Supporter Shield standings, and they're playing a Red Bulls team that is 6-0-3 and currently 5th in the standings. But this Red Bulls team, and don't let the standing fool you, the fact that this Red Bulls team is one of the best team in the Eastern Conference right now. And it just feels like this season Atlanta always tends to get the best matchup, because this is the third time this season that this Atlanta is involved in a match where you could say it's the game of the year, and this one could be the case. And really, I think this might not be a very good kind of opponent for Atlanta to face, because the Red Bulls is a team that loves to high press, and Atlanta, one of the things that I hear is that they do tend to at times struggle with the high press, and they do at times struggle with teams trying to just quickly quickly transition, quickly hit on the counter attack, and that's what the Red Bulls have done so far this season. So the Red Bulls certainly have a chance to use that kind of tactics and use that kind of style of play to really threaten Atlanta in this game. But then again, Atlanta is just, they're a very good team, and they just don't lose at home. And even though that this is not on paper, if you look on the tactics, and this might not favor Atlanta in terms of that, I think that Atlanta is still favorite to win this game, and I won't be surprised if Atlanta does win this one. Although at the same time, I won't be surprised if the Red Bulls win this one. And if the Red Bulls win this one, then the discussion is the Red Bulls now the best team in the East, and that maybe the best team in the league and the team to beat might not be Atlanta, because if the Red Bulls beat Atlanta, then a lot of teams are going to look at what the Red Bulls do and kind of replicate that whenever they face Atlanta, because maybe that is the way to beat Atlanta this season. But we'll see how this game is. This is certainly a game that I'm definitely keeping my eyes on, and probably this is the game that I will first talk about when I do the review video. But yeah, finally we get to the final game of this match week. It's Montreal versus the Galaxy. Yeah, Montreal are 3-0-8. The Galaxy are 3-1-6. Both teams have lost 5 of their last 6. Both teams' defense is absolutely hot garbage, with Montreal conceding a league-high 26 goals. I mean, 26 goals this season. They are on the verge, if they can keep this up, they are on the verge of breaking the records of the most conceded goals this season. They're gonna break the record that Minnesota set last season at 70, and that they are on verge of conceding 80 goals this season. And one of the things that I would say why the Impact's defense is garbage is the fact that it just seemed like ever since they lost 4-0 to New England in that game, the defense just been non-existent. Like there's just no defense whatsoever from this team. And I know that after that 4-0 game, in their next couple of games, they also have 3 times where they conceded either 4 goals or more. And that is absolutely dreadful. And, you know, for the Galaxy, it's almost the same case for them. Although, you know, the goals that they have conceded this season, they have conceded, I think, 18 this season. So it's not as high as it is. It's kind of like right near above average as the amount of goals an MLS team has conceded this season. But if you look at the last couple of games and how garbage that center back partnership and also that whole back line is, it just felt like watching the Galaxy in the last couple of games kind of reminds you of the Galaxy team from last season. And a lot of Galaxy fans are not happy about what's going on with their team. And it just feels like deja vu all over again with this Galaxy team. Potentially, if they keep this up, they might be heading into that wooden spoon award that they might win at the end of the year. And, you know, for this game, overall, I have a feeling that this game could be a high-scoring game, even though both teams does not have good attacker on their team. And the reason why I say that is because both defense is so bad that even average kind of attacking players can get through the defense and potentially score a goal. So I won't be surprised if this game ends in like a high scoring, like a 3-3 or 4-4 kind of game, because both of these defense are just so bad right now this season. These defense alongside with maybe my Quakes, Minnesota. I know I keep making fun of Minnesota's defense. I gotta really stop that, because a lot of Loons fans are probably not happy that I keep making fun of their defense. Are literally the worst this season. So yeah, we're gonna see how this game is gonna be. But that is pretty much it for this match week number 12 preview video. Let me know in the comments below what you think of all these 12 games. Leave a prediction in the comment section of what do you think the score is going to be for all 11 of these games. And yeah, make sure you guys leave a like, smash that subscribe button, and I will see you guys next time, and I'll see you guys on Sunday for the review video.